Hello everyone. I am Kajal Shah from Next Genius Scholarship Program, and today we have our scholar from Lynn University, Ishita Nair, with us. So I would like to invite Ishita to introduce herself to everyone.
Thank you so much for having me. So my name is Ishita Nair. I graduated from MIT Vishwashanti Gurukul in Pune in 2020. So I'm the 2020 Next Genius Scholar. I just graduated with my bachelor's in science in biology from Lynn University.
That's lovely. And I would like to make a mention that she has graduated in just 3 years, which is quite commendable. So, congratulations on that, Ashita. It's like, you have been an amazing student and scholar throughout. So, I would like to learn your journey from the beginning. Like, how did you get to know about Next Genius? And how was your experience throughout the process?
For sure. So in high school, I was actually set on going to Canada for my further education. I actually heard about the Next Genius program through my university counselor at school, and I applied through her, and I found out about what a great opportunity it would be, and I just thought of giving it a try. And out of all the universities listed, my counselor told me that Lynn University would have been a good fit for me. So I kind of looked into it, did my research, and eventually the competition day came. And I met with the admissions counselors, and they were great. We instantly connected, and they made me feel so welcomed into their university space, and the activities that they have and their values that they stood for really stood out to me as well. So I won the scholarship, and I was fortunate enough to go to Lynn University, which has also been an incredible experience. I think Lynn being one of the most international campuses in the US definitely was something that I was looking for in terms of my education. I met people from all over the world, which was something I'm really grateful for, as well as the small classroom sizes really helped me interact and make those connections with my professors on campus. It definitely felt like a family. It is a small university, so everyone was really nice, and I I made friends really quickly, and that was great too. Knowing that there was a good support system, the admission staff was great. It was a fantastic experience. Yeah.
That's lovely to know. I mean, it's been like 3 years you did this entire process, and it was offline or online for you?
So initially, because I was the batch of 2020, my first semester was online. But then my spring semester of my freshman year, I actually went to campus, and then it was in person from there.
Yeah, so how was that experience? Because being a COVID batch, I would say, you had your Next Genius experience also online, and then classes like you were at Lynn, but you were not at Lynn. So how was that transition, and how did you manage to, do classes from India?
So initially, it was definitely really difficult considering I think it was a 9.5, 10-hour time difference. So I was up all night. I had classes all night. But Lynn has this great system set in place called the block schedule, which basically means they split our semester into 4 terms, A, B, C, and D. And then in each term, we take up to 2 classes, which last for like a month. For some of the science classes, there were 2 months, which meant I only had 1 or 2 classes a day. So it was well spaced out, and it allowed me to kind of do my assignments on time, but also meet up with the professors if I had any questions. So because of the block schedule, it made it really easy to kind of space out everything, but also work on it online from an online point of view. Once I transitioned into in person, it was definitely very different because the classroom is very different from like having my classes on Zoom. But then we kind of had like an hybrid system where one day was in person, the next day was online, because it was still during the early times of the pandemic. So they were trying to reduce contact and all of that. But that was also very smooth. The professors are so understanding. If you talk to them and communicate, they give extensions and additional resources if you do need the help. So my transition in terms of academics was very smooth.
That's great. I mean, of course, everyone that transition from pandemic to in person, it must have been difficult. But of course, it was great to go out again. So now I would like you to talk about your, major, because like, students who will look up at your video might be, aspiring to do that major. So how did you choose, and how was Next Genius or your school helpful in that?
Right. So I actually went in as a psychology major, but I soon found out that Lynn's approach to psychology was more counseling based, and I was looking more into like neuroscience and the biological aspects. So the great thing is once you get admitted into Lynn, you get assigned an academic advisor who's kind of who sticks with you the 3 or 4 years that you do go to Lynn. So you can really discuss your options with them and the classes and kind of talk to them about what major would better fit your path. So in this case, did speak to my academic advisors and a lot of professors as well. And they recommended that I switch to biology because I was looking at a more biological perspective um, in terms of the brain and everything. So that's when I made that switch. And being a biology major at Lynn definitely had its perks because, like I mentioned earlier, there are really small classroom sizes. So you really do get to connect and network with your professor, make that strong relationship with them, and potentially be part of research projects. I myself was part of 2 research projects on campus. So you definitely do get those opportunities when you are in a small classroom size, and they also give their insight and their experiences, which comes in really handy if you are a little unsure about the future and like what you want to do like later on in life.
So you're mentioning that it's a small university. So and from everything that you have shared until now, it seems like it's a very close knit community, right? So how has your experience been with the cultural community different communities on campus? So how has your experience been with them?
So I went in not really expecting much, but definitely, Lynn is a very diverse community. There's students from all over the world. And I was fortunate enough to start my own club on campus, which was the South Asian Club, where we brought a little bit of home to campus. We would celebrate South Asian festivals. So we celebrated Diwali, Holi. We had like Dandiya nights, Bollywood nights. So definitely bringing a bit of our culture on campus, and who doesn't love Indian food? So we had a lot of Indian food on campus, and that way we were sorry, able to like spread our culture, but also have fun with it and kind of educate people on campus about our traditions and our festivals and what we celebrate, what we consider to be home. So I was definitely fortunate enough to find my community on campus. But other than that, there's a lot of different cultural clubs on campus. So there was the Hispanic Student Union, Caribbean Student Union. So we were all pretty involved in everyone's cultures, and it was just so much fun exchanging that happiness amongst different communities and trying different food out or a different type of dance. It was definitely very, very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, along with studies, you actually get to grow with such kind of people, and get to learn like how people live in other parts of the world. So in the very beginning of the conversation, you mentioned that you were looking at Canada to pursue your further studies, but then the next genius came along. So what made you switch? Like, how did you decided not to go to Canada but US?
Um, So, how I looked at it, the US definitely had a very different teaching style as compared to Canada. I think the US education system is a little more immersive, as in, there's different opportunities that you can get. And once I heard about Lynn and their pros, so like the small classes, the distinguished professors, as well as the community style campus that they had, I think that drew me a little bit more towards the US, because all of the schools I applied to in Canada, for example, University of Toronto, UBC, they were bigger institutions, which had a larger student body. And I was kind of looking at something more like with a smaller classroom sizes, so I could get that individualized attention from my professor. So that's kind of when I made that switch. And also financially, it was a smarter option than choosing Canada.
That's great. I hope that you are proud of your decision today. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would also like to learn that where, why was a Lynn University was your option, or maybe a liberal arts college in that way. So why did you choose a liberal arts college university instead of a bigger, larger body university? Like, what made you choose this?
Um, I think firstly, the impression they made on me, meeting the admissions counselors, it was something very warm and welcoming. So that was definitely a factor, because I felt very welcomed, and they seemed to listen to all of my concerns, but also guide me throughout the entire process. But apart from that, I also when I was kind of researching a little bit about the university, I found out that it started off as like a female institution. And that was something that kind of drove me to just to know that it's a little bit more female empowering, and that the history is a little more aligned with my values. So once I kind of saw that, it further motivated me to like apply to Lynn. Um, and apart from that, also the block schedule was something that I hadn't heard of before. And it was something different, as compared to traditional universities, how their semester goes, and how Lynn was very innovative with kind of changing their entire system of learning just to cater to the student. I think that was something that really convinced me as well.
That's great. That's great. So, I would like you to describe maybe next genius journey in one word, and why do you describe in that one word? Like, I want to know that from you.
That's a good question. I think insightful. I would say that my next genius experience was definitely very insightful, because even during the application process and when we had the interviews in person, I was kind of given a lot of questions and situations that I wouldn't find myself usually in. So it taught me a lot about myself and how I viewed myself within the student body, or how I viewed myself as a student when these admissions counselors kind of interacted with me and asked me all these questions, as well as the fact traveling to a country abroad all alone, it's definitely a big step, and it takes a lot out of you. So I learned a lot about myself, being independent, kind of streamlining my vision as to like what I want to do. And it definitely opened a lot of doorways for me in terms of opportunities. So I think insightful would be the word I would use. Yeah.
That's great. So, you know, your journey has been also insightful. If I look at, I have to put it in a way, like after hearing you, your journey has been insightful from, going to Canada, shifting to US, and then choosing Lynn for your graduation. So what motivated you to do this, and will that be a message to the upcoming batch as a motivation that why they should give this a chance?
Um, I think what motivated me, I would say, it was something I hadn't heard of before. Almost sounded too good to be true. And I think that like element of curiosity is what kept me going, because when my university counselor told me about this opportunity, instantly I was like, how is that possible? A full tuition scholarship? Like that sounds too good to be true. But she told me, no, 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 you should apply. Like this is real. It's possible that you can win this. And when it happened, it was honestly a very overwhelming feeling at the moment, because it takes a lot to like process that you want something so big. And it's definitely I remember my father was with me at the time, and I could see the happiness in his eyes, because financially it's, I think, a great gift for a lot of parents and a lot of families to be able to send their child abroad to study in one of the most refined institutions in the US that Next Genius has partnerships with. I think that's what kind of kept me going. I was a little curious as to see where this would go, but definitely like taking that chance and believing in yourself and kind of pushing through the entire process, but also staying true to what you stand for, because in the end, that's what the admissions counselors are looking for, the perfect fit to their school. So it's not just you looking to go to university, but they're also looking for a student who will best fit them. So I think that's, yeah.
I think you have put it in a very well mannered, like curiosity, and to give it a chance, like be curious and to the entire process, so that it keeps you excited for what will be the result in the end. So yeah, it was lovely getting to know your experience, Ishita, and having this conversation with you. So thank you so much for coming and motivating other students who will be now applying and maybe joining Lynn, and maybe looking up to you, connecting with you for any advice they need. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.